the whole world at our feet, watching seasons change. Our roads were lined with adventure, mountains in the way couldn't keep us from the sea. Here we stand, open arms. This is home where we are, ever strong in the world that we made. I still hear you in the breeze, see your shadows in the trees, holding on, memories never change.
Okay, good evening everyone. Let's see if this is working, and if it is, then we can get going. Today is going to be a stream about technical problems. Quite a lot of technical problems, and the technical problems will be related with me trying to actually stream games. And I, as you know, never done it in the past, so it's going to be interesting. Now, I actually asked a group on Facebook where there are a lot of people who play games, like, what hacker games do you know? Because I wanted to play, you know, games about hackers, because I am finding it a little bit funny that I'm going to play a game about stuff which I do at work-ish, right? So yeah, this is going to be funny. And yeah, and they recommended, I have like a long list of games. In the end I have selected 3 games. The games will be, I will probably start with one of the Hacker Evolutions games, then I will go to Hacknet, and then I will switch to Uplink probably. So there are obviously more hacker games than that. We might do another gaming evening sometime in the future if you like it, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. Now again, this is the first time I'm going to stream something which tries to take over my full screen, and I did test every game, but it might still end up being funny, so I apologize for all the technical problems which will be there today, and I do expect there to be technical problems. Yes, so my moderator today, that's KrzaQ. You can see his nickname somewhere here. Where is it? Yes, it's here. If you have any questions at any time, and I do see there are already some questions, then ping KrzaQ and he will let me know in a telepathic way, because he's a psychic, as you might know. Okay, but before we get into KrzaQ's deepest and darkest secrets, let's go to his website. Now, this is quite interesting. Okay, no, I do not want to restore, and I do not have Gmail set up, so thankfully that misclick did not show you my, well, anything. Okay, I need to switch this, and yep, this is, oh, and this isn't working. Oh, okay, I didn't expect the technical problems to start this early. Sorry about that. So, this is KrzaQ's website, and do visit it if you are interested in C++ stuff, because he's really good at C++, and sometimes he writes even blog posts about it, or about programming-related stuff, like, for example, the Game Engine Black Book, which is a really good book. You can read the review on KrzaQ's blog. Now, I don't think we are going to need that today, so let's go quickly through the questions, and then and then we can get started with the technical problems. Okay, from Przemysław, I bought some days ago M2 SSD drive. It had 52 Celsius and during idle and up to 77 when working hard, so I decided to return it. Was it overheating or is it normal? That is an excellent question. I don't know in all honesty. Let's see at my M2. This is it. It has 42 at idle. I'm going to try to copy something there really quick now. Where am I going to find a huge file? Oh, how about a video recording of my live stream? Okay, perfect. Now it's supposed to be doing actually something. I'm copying a huge file, several huge files there, and the temperature is not really changing. So yeah, that being said, I don't know what exact manufacturer did you have, right? I have a Samsung and it seems to be pretty stable. Oh, now it actually had risen one Celsius up, so yeah, that's not 55, that's not 72 either, so I don't know. By the way, did one of my hard drives that just disappeared? Oh, that's funny. There's a flick on the screen, but I didn't notice what changed. So, oh, here it is again. Hello there. That's pretty weird. I guess I'm going to need to investigate that later on. So yeah, it might be either there was a problem with the drive itself, or there might have been, well, how is your cooling working, right? If, you know, this is a laptop or like a thin book of sorts, then a higher temperature is kind of expected. If this is a PC casing, then if you have proper airflow, then it shouldn't be so high. So it's kind of a question about that, like, are the other components on your motherboard also high in temperature, or are they normal around 40 degrees? Now, as far as the temperature goes, like 77 degrees isn't critical for hardware. It will still work correctly. I had for like a year a CPU running about 90 degrees. That should be fine. It shouldn't, though that being said, it was when the parts were a little bigger than now. So 70, but still 77 should be fine within tolerance. But yeah, if you're worried, then ask the support of the manufacturer about it. So yes, again, perfect, another non-answer. Will quantum computers replace normal computers in far future? No, because they are more like accelerators for certain computation. So when it gets miniaturized, someday it will just be another PCI card which you just plug into your motherboard, the same as, for example, the physics PCI card was a couple of years ago when it was integrated into the GPU. So I guess, like, looking at it, my guess is that our GPUs are going to get quantum computers inside coming up in the next 50 years or 100 years or so. So we'll see. But no, they will not replace. It's like a different, from my understanding, and I'm not a quantum computer engineer, is like a different animal used for different things, a different tool. Can you recommend any book about 3D rendering? Do you prefer DirectX or OpenGL/Vulkan? I personally use OpenGL, but I'm looking towards switching to Vulkan at some point. About books, no, not really, but do look on my Twitter, because I recently, really recently, like yesterday or 2 days ago, asked a question about any good book recommendations, and there might be something on the topic which you like. And my Twitter is like /Ginvale, there is no magic there. Portal between bookshelves. Yes, so if, it's here, if any demon actually gets out of that thing, I trust you folks to warn me on the chat. How about an episode about gaming protection engines like the Nuva? So this is a really tricky situation, right? Because depending on the law of the country you are in, actually cracking anti-piracy protections might land you in jail or with a fine. And I would prefer not to do either of these things. So while I might sometimes describe the mechanisms used there, I would probably never focus on like the Nouveau itself, unless I have an opinion from my lawyer which says, yeah, like that's fine in the country you reside, and if you don't plan ever visiting that country, then yeah, that's fine. And it happens like in there were cases where like somebody was okay with the local law and then went to, for example, US, it's usually US, and on the airport they said, okay, mister, you're coming with us. So yeah, I would prefer to be cautious here. Did someone on Facebook suggest hack mode? Might be a fun one to try. I think it's on my list. I am not going to try today though, but I think it is on my list. There are several interesting games. Also, one thing to note, I'm not going to do games about programming today. So like TIS-100 or Shenzhen.io, that's not on my hacking game list because I treat it as a different kind of game. And I'm probably going to do a different gaming evening about these types of games at some point. It's a PC, about the overheating SSD again. It's a PC, but M2 slot is under GPU slot. Yeah, that might explain something, if you, especially if you have like, I don't know, like a Titan with passive cooling or something. I'm pretty sure something like that doesn't exist, but it might explain it. You might try to, you know, grab another, put another heatsink there or something, or put another, probably no space for a heatsink. Maybe just a fan newer, and maybe it will work. It's actually a good question to ask somebody who knows how PCs work. I am okay with hardware, but I am no expert with PC hardware. I mean, I can, you know, totally choose the parts for my PCs and put them together, but that's about where my knowledge ends, especially about the stuff like airflow and so on. It's out of my jurisdiction. Cool, so let's get going with hacking games. I'm going to provide a commentary, and I did try all these games, but I didn't play more than 5 minutes. So I actually am really bad at this games, so expect me being bad at the games. I'm going to start with, let's start with Hacknet perhaps. Okay, so I'm clicking play and let's see what happens. Okay, this I guess is installing a backdoor. Okay, here we go. Can you see it? You can see it, but you cannot hear it. I can hear it. Now, sound is enabled, but I want to change the sound card. I want to change the sound card. Hello? No. So for it not to be too boring for you, I'm actually going to switch my default sound card to, so playback devices, here we go. I'm going to switch to, oh wait, no, actually OBS should be able to intercept it, so let's try it. This is the technical problems I was talking about. So that will be audio output capture. I'm going to call it a game. Okay, and it's going to capture this one. Okay, so okay, can you hear something? Let me check on YouTube. Okay. Yeah, I think you can hear it. So if you could actually tell me on the chat if you can hear it, because I'm not sure. If I unmute to YouTube now, you will hear me twice or something. So okay, is it loud enough? I think it's actually too loud. I'm going to make it a little quieter, if you don't mind. Perfect. Yeah, maybe like this. So, Hacknet, new session, let's go for it. Username, Gunveil, obviously. It's already taken. Okay, so, good. Password. You didn't see me typing ASDF. My password is totally not ASDF. Okay, I want to create... there is some serious hacking stuff there. I can see it's 64-bit architecture. It's probably pretty funny to just look at it. We're going to look at it, because why not? So I have 8 CPUs. Seatbelt sandbox policy, SafeNet policy, quarantine policy, copyright up to... Whoa. Yeah, just like random things which firewire stuff. Just random stuff. Okay. I guess we missed the intro. The intro is that, hey, I am this guy who is... this person who is contacting you, and I am probably dead right now, but you should help me. Now, the problem is you don't see what's happening at the bottom, like here. But this should be fine. If it's not fine, then I'm going to remove the camera. Because I think you don't have to see me today. Let me check how to remove the camera. Let's do like this. Bye bye, but I'm still here, no worries. And let's do this as well. Okay, perfect. Maybe let me get the camera back. Oh, and I'm going to... Oops, this is absolutely not what I wanted to do. Yeah. Here we go. Maybe a little lower. Because there's important information everywhere. So. Okay. As of right now, you are at risk. Okay, learn as quickly as possible. Begin the tutorial sequence by pressing the continue button below. Okay, so this is a clicking simulator. Connect to the computer by typing connect. Where can I type connect? I do not see anywhere I can type. If I press something, nothing happens. But I can click on the map on the green circle, use like some map with green PC. Let's go for it. Perfect, and I am the administrator of this system. What can I do? I can do a lot of stuff. I can log in. Oh, why does it display my password in plain text or whatever? I can log in. So now I guess I'm an admin. I can probe the system. And this looks like I have 4 ports. I guess they are TCP ports. Yeah, they got this right. This is correct information. FTP server. Yeah, usually you need 2 ports, but 1 is fine too. This is fine. Proxy detected. I don't know what that means. Firewall detected. Does proxy detected means that I am connecting through a proxy? I actually don't know. Is this my computer perhaps? If it's my computer, then it's localhost for me. I don't know. I can... Whoa, there is a file system. That's cool. My stash is empty. My logs are... Okay, that's pretty neat. There's a connection from some IP. What's the IP? It looks pretty real. Let's just try it. Oops. It seems that I have all my windows today because this is my main screen, so let me do a little change. Okay. Do I have whois? Oh, I have whois. Perfect. Let's see what IP are they using. Okay, blah blah blah. And this is really the result for... I'm actually going to switch to Linux whois. Sorry, Mark. Okay, here we go. Time Warner Cable Internet Company. So this is some random person's home internet connection probably. That's funny. Okay, so that was the file system. We saw logs. There is some binary. Let's look at the binary. Oh, this is... Well, it is a binary, but this is not a P executable for sure. And there are drivers. Perfect. So this is quite funny, right? Because the exe file name is .exe, right? And we see DLLs here and .sys file. This is like Windows stuff, but this is a Unix file system, so that's quite funny. Sweet. So let's look at the drivers. Anything fun there? Just like some random number. I actually did try to decode these binary stuff, but they don't reveal anything too interesting, so I'm not going to do it again. Okay, so I scan network thingy. Where is it? Scan network. Okay. And it did find for me another node in the network. So that was a fast scan. Sadly, normal nmap doesn't work as fast, but this is pretty cool. So do I have to disconnect from my machine? It's time to connect to the outside computer. Be aware that attempting to compromise the security of another computer is illegal under the USC Act, whatever. Proceed at your own risk and connect to an outside machine by clicking on the blue node on the network map. Okay, I'm going to click it. And this is yet another IP for us, so let's see. It's Dengler Enterprises, but what is it really? Okay, I think I'm going to use WinTab today instead. What am I leaking to you anyway if I press this? I'm actually not leaking anything, it seems. So just the normal windows I use for streaming. Maybe Shadows chat on Steam, but without the content, thankfully. So, who are we hacking? For real, like whose IP did they take? I don't think that's a private IP. Might be a private IP though. Okay, cool. So, what am I supposed to do? I'm going to... Oh, there's a console now, so let's use it. And they say I can type nmap, so there's nmap already. This is a real tool created by some real people, and it is in fact used for computer and network scanning, so they got this right. So nmap, and what do I have to give it? Oh, but the IP is already here, so do I just have to type nmap? Okay, so this is one thing which they got wrong. You can use nmap for scanning, but before that you have to spend 10 minutes looking on the internet in the manual what exact parameters do you need to do the special type of scanning you would like to do. And this is way too easy. So, open ports required for KrzaQ. This is quite funny. And there are some ports. All the ports are closed, but I can crack it without any opened ports. How is that supposed to work? Usually, so this is one thing which I guess the beginner people interested in security get kinda wrong. Well, got wrong in the past. That was like, somebody does a nmap scan of a real PC, and they say, well, you have a port open, so I can hack you now. Or like, as an advice given to administrators and users, well, you have this port open, you better close it on the firewall because someone can hack you. That's obviously not the case, right? Because an open port, all that gives you is something to talk with. And that thing which you talk with is actually, well, it has its own attack surface, so, but it doesn't guarantee you getting into the system. For example, let me get this again, and I'm going to open a port. Port 1234. Now I have a port 1234 open. Can you hack me? Probably no, but this did increase the attack surface of my PC. Well, my PC is obviously inside the local area network, so you cannot get from the outside because this port is not accessible through the internet. But if it was, would you be able to hack me using netcat listening on this port? Well, it's an interesting question, because the answer is maybe. Now the answer is maybe, even in case of netcat, because what's happening here is that if somebody connects, and I'm going to connect to it using another console, so let me grab a Windows console now, and let's just connect there. I'm going to use also netcat for connection. Okay, and I connected and I can type something. Now the fun fact is that the only vector here for actually me from this computer hacking this computer through this open port is to, well, not only option, but the main option I would say here is to attack this application. Now by this application I mean actually Xterm, because netcat has a nasty habit of just outputting the bytes it receives, and Xterm has the implementation of so-called ANSI escape codes or terminal control codes. And if the implementation would be faulty for some reason, maybe there would be a way to execute a command, but I haven't heard about the possibility of actually executing command this way from 2000, year 2000 or something. So yeah, so probably here the attack vector is small. Obviously you could attack the TCP stack of this device, of the Linux kernel, but that also doesn't, Well, I think it's kinda secure already after so many years, and I don't recall any good bugs currently, but in the past there were bugs in the TCP stack as well. So an open port doesn't instantly give you a way to exploit the machine, but it does give you an attack surface of some kind. So I guess what it means is that I can crack this system because I will be attacking the network stack. Let's see what will happen. In reality, you should, if you have no ports open, you can still try to attack the network stack, or you can look for UDP ports or some other protocol ports, because TCP and UDP aren't the only protocols that are there, obviously. On that level, there are a couple of more. Not really too much used, but there are there. Cool, so what do I have to do? I have to run port hack. So I'm going to run a port hack program on all the closed ports, which doesn't make too much sense, but okay, let's do it. Port hack, oh, there's tab completion, that's actually quite amazing. And it's doing something. This is awesome. You see there are some graphics and some passwords, I guess. I guess this was a password brute forcing attempt through the network, quite fast, I would say. Usually the SSH or whatever you would be trying to connect to would, you know, after 3 tries it would give you some, well, disconnect, right? And you would have to reconnect and so on. But it's quite loud, but maybe such speed is achievable. That being said, how did it find a password for something which doesn't have any ports open is beyond me. But whatever, it found the password. Now, congratulations, you have taken control of an external system. You are now its administrator. You can do whatever you like. Perfect, I can scan local nodes. So I get into a system and now I can use that system's network to look for local host targets. This is quite normal, especially if you do pen testing. You try to hack on something which is, you know, on the edge of a network, and then you get into that internal network. That's pretty much how it works. So what do I have to do? I have to scan. Okay, so nmap was the command, wasn't it? And I have... oh no, nmap was for looking at this machine, but scan but with a capital S, I think. Sorry. Okay, so scan says there are no computers connected to the system which are visible from it, so no local, I guess no local network. I should investigate the file system. Totally, let's investigate the file system. I'm going to click through the interface. So this is the probe system, or this is this, and I know this already, the file system. I can do, well, I know how to do it, right? So ls, oh, it uses actually colons to... Where did I see colons for this? I don't remember. That's a new thing. So let's go to home, let's see what's here. Nothing's here, so let's go to log. Well, there are some logs, but these are our logs. Let's go to... Can we remove logs? Let's go to logs and remove them. Whoa, we can remove logs, that's cool. Obviously, removing logs using RM something doesn't give you too much in real world, because you probably... It's a really loud operation. You probably should override them, and if the admin done it right, the logs are going to a printer anyway. So it's like there's a server and then there's a printer, and the printer has, you know, like a paper tape basically going out of it with logs. So once something happens, it just gets printed out. So there's no removing logs, I'm sorry. But I guess nowadays this isn't really a popular option. Just removing the logs also, if a forensics expert gets into the problem, they might recover the removed files. If you do, what was the word for it? Shred the file, as in overwrite it with like zeros or some other stuff first, that's a little more complicated, unless you have a file system which is, which basically always never overwrites the file, but always appends data to the disk, right? So it says, okay, so instead of having this block overwritten, actually look for this block somewhere else, and it contains the new data. In that case, really removing a file isn't possible, and a forensics expert will find it. And yeah, somebody might just have some triggers or tripwires set up for removing logs. But in this case it works. So whatever, this is just a game anyway. Oh, perfect, there's a config. Can I cut it? I can cut it. I'm really happy with all the commands working so far. Cool, so this config.txt file has apparently a config.ini thing here, and this is not ini format. This is, I don't know, but it's not ini format. I have no idea what format is it. Is it... It's kind of similar to like YAML, maybe kinda, and kinda is a proper word here because this is not YAML. Maybe some other stuff. I think this is not YAML. Okay. Is there anything interesting here? What is this? It's a texture folder, okay. And why is this a Windows path? Well, whatever. Totally useless, I fully agree with the game. Let's go up. And let's check sys. The game tells us to go somewhere else, so okay, let's check logs. And remove them. Oh, it tells us to remove the logs, perfect. Done, now I can disconnect. Control D. Control D doesn't work, I am disappointed. DC. No, seriously, DC? Exit is a proper word here, not DC. Congratulations, you have completed the guided section of this tutorial. To finish it, you must locate the process ID of this tutorial program and kill it. Okay, perfect. Am I connected to any... Oh, I guess this terminal is my local host, so... It's again PC. What's in my home? Does find work here, actually? Find dot? No, it doesn't. Find dot would give you, you know, a nice list of all the files. Oh, I guess this is just my localhost PC, that's fine. Well, PS, and PS actually works, so there is... Do I have help? I do have help. We have SCP, that's nice, that's for copying files, they got it correct. Scan for... Yeah, we already used scan, PS and kill. That's nice, that's pretty real. Connect to external computer. They could made it SSH, I guess. Sweet. Let's. They told us what to kill the tutorial, right? So kill, done. Perfect. And now I have this cool email effect. So hi, I don't know you, and I'm sad to say that I never will, but if you're reading this, it means you might be the only person that can make things right. Right now, I'm trapped. There's no way out and not enough time, and I need your help. But there's something you need to take care of first, the faster the better. Hacknet OS wasn't meant to be released, Hacknet OS, that's cool, wasn't meant to be released as it is now. After a while, an automated tracker will activate itself. An automated tracker, okay. Is this like telemetry for Microsoft? Sweet. We can't let that happen. Connect to your own node. It should be green on the net map, and find and delete security tracer X. Oh, we did see that file a second ago. When you're done, reply to this email. Hurry a bit. Okay, and there's some guide, but I guess I can handle removing a file. So, okay. City. Oh, I type DC. Yeah, DC isn't probably the... So, remove security tracer, done, DC to disconnect, and reply to email, was it? Reply. Sorry, can I... Additional details. Oh, that's cool. Hello there. Done. That's perfect. Whoa! This is totally fake. I never saw anyone replying to emails so fast. And I totally don't reply to emails so fast. Great, that should keep you safe for now, at least from your own computer. Let me zoom that a little bit for you. Before we start, you're going to need a few things. Port hack alone isn't going to cut it on most modern computers you'll find, not ones with anything worth looking at anyway. You should start by checking up on a friend of mine, but he goes by Viper. awful, I know. He's honestly not the brightest crayon in the box, but he always seems to get a hold of useful code. You should have no trouble getting into his files. Finding something useful might be a bit more of a challenge. You can, for the most part, ignore the generic file stuff gets logged or saved by a program, IRC logs, and the like. Custom named things like .exe files are what we are looking for, so custom.exe files, okay. Download anything using SCP, good luck, link Viper, okay, sweet, so let's do it. I'm going to click it and I have two nodes. Where's the mail? Oh, which I connected. Hey, that's actually really cool. They even got the email server here. It's called Jmail. I guess this is just one letter of Gmail. So that's cool. Let's get here then, and let's. What did they say? Nmap, not nump. Nmap. And it found no open ports, but there are 0 ports required for hacking, obviously. So let's do that. Port hack, and again magic is happening. 3D things are rotating, passwords are going not really fast, but okay. And the password was found, so I'm going to log in, and the password was Nathan. That's fine. Perfect. So we can now, I guess, we can scan the network and see if there are any other nodes. There is some other node here, I guess. Entropy A asset cache or something. You can hack it later. Homework, txt files, email drafts. That's what? That sent me another 2000 because I need FTP bounce still. That's funny. Hey, that I need this hacking to do like honest stuff and honest living. Okay, SSH crack. That sounds fun. And nothing else. So let's go here and let's SCP this to ourselves. So. Whoa, just like that, and it started copying instead of me having to pass my IP or anything. So this is actually, you know, usually in SCP you do need to pass a path where it's supposed to copy to. That being said, there is something called, I think that's the Z-modem protocol, which copies stuff through your terminal. As in, if you're connecting using SSH, I mentioned the terminal control codes, right? So usually the terminal control codes do this, like do color text. This is what they are most known for, right? But yeah, so like echo E033, let's do 134 or 37M ASDF. And nothing happened because I forgot to do this. Yeah, and this changes the color of the font, and this is like a typical escape code. Now, some terminals, and I actually know only one, and that's the K terminal from KDE, when compiled with proper options, supports also something called the Z-modem escape codes, which basically work like this. That on external server, you basically cut a file, but before you cut the file, you put well, this escape code, and then your terminal, the application which you have running here on your local machine says, hey, there is a file incoming, where do you want me to store it? And then you just put some location, and the terminal stops displaying the text, and instead of displaying the text, it writes it to the file on the disk. And that's really handy, but I guess it was also kind of an attack vector and maybe not really popular, so yeah, so it's disabled and not supported in all terminals. But it would basically work the same way which like SCP worked here. Now let's go to logs, let's remove the logs. This is not the logs. Yeah. Remove everything. Okay, and disconnect. Perfect. So, well, we have our crack program. There is some entropy cache here. And I was already here. Perfect. So, okay, so we have a tool. Now we can reply, I guess, and reply. Okay, I guess that means everything's fine. What happens if I just reply? Okay, I'm going to try what happens if I just reply to this email, but I without doing anything, but let's see. Congratulations, I honestly have no way of knowing if you succeeded in this responder. Okay, that kinda addresses what I wanted to say. But if you're seeing this, it means you at least found something. I'm going to assume it's something really useful. You should try breaking one of my old test servers. If Viper had the sort of thing he's known for lying around, you should have everything you need to get in. So this is one thing which I guess kinda differs but doesn't really differ from real hacking. As in, real hacking, the one I'm usually focusing on, is where I write my tools. Almost all of them, because every problem I face is, well, most problems I face are unique, and this is because you know, I play CTFs and I do some other stuff, right? So and there is like no tool which you run to solve this CTF challenge. So in my area of hacking, focusing on programming is quite important because you're creating a lot of ad hoc tools. Now, there's another area which is, I guess, pentesters are more interested in, where you use a lot of tools which are created, like for example SQL map or like the Metasploit framework itself, which is basically a collection of tools and exploits for getting into a system, right? And I guess this game kinda is more about that area of hacking. So yeah, tools are important, totally, because it doesn't make sense to code everything from scratch again. It's just at some point you might stumble on a problem which you have to code the tool yourself, so when you get to that point you do need to know programming. Okay, let's hack it and... yeah, I know. Okay, so let's try to use the tool. Here it is, perfect. And let's nmap it. And okay, so open ports required and there is no ports opened. So given that there are no ports opened, I'm supposed to run a SSH cracking tool on a closed port. Okay, why? But that doesn't make too much sense. Normally you wouldn't, but this is a game, obviously. So, okay, fine. So SSH crack port 22. Whoa, there are things happening. Okay. And now SSH port is open. So, okay, this is funny because the tool was named SSH crack, and it would, I would assume, given seeing the name, it would actually attack the SSH server on the server, which makes sense, right? The SSH daemon. But it resembled more like looking for the proper port knocking configuration to like knock on this port, this port, this port, and this port, and this actually opens up the port which I can establish a session with and chat with the session. So it's like they got something right, but as in something real, because you know, in the universe of the game that might be actually correct what they did, but outside of it, yeah, I would name it like crack port knocker or something, and that would make more sense, but doesn't matter. We have a port open, we can now use the port hack tool to again display another fancy 3D animation, and yes, and the password's found. Perfect. What's the password? So the password is password. Really? Seriously? So this bit person is actually a hacker who is dead now and has a server of his with the password. Perfect. Let's see what's here. Oh no, that was a mistake. I wanted to open the file system. Nothing fun here. Some files, nothing in the bin. Nothing. Test file. Congratulations, you win. Perfect, thank you. I like winning. Autolog reports, some IRC logs, I guess. Yeah, whatever. I guess, yeah, let's do the standard. I'm going to go to log and remove everything. And disconnect and then reply to email because I used the tool successfully, right? So it kind of looks like a tutorial still. Well, sorry, it was this, right? So replies and something in return. Okay. Nice work. Here's where it's going to start getting harder. I need... This actually reminds me, I was testing another game for this today's live stream, and another game was quite funny because it was basically a clicking simulator, as in the game told you, okay, you now need to hack something, and there was a button which said hack that thing. Well, okay. And now the game tells you you need to download the files, and there is a button in the exact same place saying download the file. And like after like 10 times clicking the button in the same position, I was like, what? Okay, perfect, nice work. I need to ask a favor. Well, you're asking favors all the time. I've been a little sloppy lately, which is what got me into the whole mess, It's why I'm writing this in the first place, I guess. Anyway, the point is there's some logs on a few computers that I'd prefer weren't there. You should remember this. If you forget everything else I tell you, don't get sloppy, delete your logs. If you haven't been, start now, okay? And I guess he wants us to... Yeah. Sorry. Delete all files in the target computer. Yeah, okay, that's... Yeah, well, okay, I get it. And we are hacking... Oh, I forget, let's check the IP. Who is 2211 49? There was some game I was playing which had IPs like 300 something. Oh, I also saw it in movies, that's quite funny. So, that looks like Korea. Okay, we are going to Korea right now for this mission, I guess. So, okay, right. Where was it? Is it this? Yes, it's this one. Okay, so probe the system. And we need at least one port open, but every port is closed, so I'm going to run SSH crack on the closed port. Yeah. One thing interesting here is if the port would open, would like a tool like SSH crack actually makes sense, because well, you could brute force the password, I guess, that's one thing, right? But the other thing is, were there any interesting exploit on SSH servers? And the answer is surprisingly yes. And the most famous one, which most of you probably remember, is the Debian SSH one, where somebody removed a line or like added some variable initialization somewhere. And it turned out that due to that, the entropy of SSH keys generated on Debian servers was actually 16 bits. That means there were only 65,000 possible keys, which means that if you just generate all the 65,000 keys, that's not a lot. That's like just, I don't know, a couple of minutes. You could try all these keys against a server, and maybe one of the keys worked. And yeah, and that happened. That was quite a... It would also work like kinda in the speed this SSH crack works, so that's quite funny. So this isn't far-fetched, like, you know, attacking an SSH server, but that being said, not exactly in this fashion they show. Perfect, password found. What is the password? The password is let me in. That looks like a CTF flag. Perfect. So, well, I guess we were supposed to just remove the logs, but let's look what else is here. Maybe like some tags to return draft. Okay, .tags, that's funny. Email, nothing conclusive knowledge. Yeah, we're going to remove it in a sec. Nothing too interesting here. Let's just remove it. Okay, disconnect, and that's it. By the way, I just noticed we have, we are using exactly 0 megabytes of RAM. I guess you don't have Chrome opened. Well, yeah, this is quite a small amount of RAM too. Like a fun fact, I think on Windows XP and previous Windows, if you had only 512 megabytes of RAM or less, the system would actually work in a different mode than if you had more, as in the kernel memory manager would behave differently in some way, and some bugs were only exploitable if you had like less than 512 megs of RAM. Yes. Okay. Yes. Alright, if you see this, then you've done well, and well, all this might actually be worth something. Is that too much to hope for? It seems like a lot to hope for. I've realized that I just don't have time to write this whole thing, really. There's way too much to learn and I don't have time to do any of it. So I'm going to need to ask something more. There's a group that goes by Entropy that's currently accepting members. Cool. They'll be able to teach you more. When you're ready, I'll contact you again. So this is quite cool. Actually, like groups of any kind for learning is something I highly encourage. As in almost, well, most of my, I guess, IT life, programming life, I was a member of one or more programming or security or CTF or computer interest groups, because when you have other people around you which are you know, have similar goals, then you are quite motivated and you learn a lot and you motivate each other, and yeah, it's just great. So if you have nothing against people in general, then do look for a group. And you know, like Dragon Sector is one for me, another is Vexillium, and there were also groups before that in my past, so yeah, doing stuff in groups is more fun. Okay, so I have to join Entropy. After getting into Entropy, you'll need to bypass a proxy server. What does that mean? How am I supposed to... So, okay, proxy servers are usually a thing which you connect to, and it basically sends the whatever packets you send to it somewhere else. So this is a proxy server. Now, usually proxy chaining is a term where you get like a couple of, you know, proxy nodes, and you have like some destination server, and you connect to a proxy, then connect to another proxy from there, and then to the destination, because the destination sees only this proxy's IP address, and if somebody is after you for accessing the server for some reason, then they see the IP of the server only, and they need to get logs from who connected at that exact time to that server, and the logs might not be accessible but might be accessible, and then they have to check this proxy and so on and so on. So the longer the chain, the more problematic it is. Now there's another use for proxies, and that's where you have so-called the reverse proxy, which is on the boundary of a network, and the reverse proxy, and there are like some servers. Now, let's say two, for example. And if you're connecting to a website, you just connect to a proxy of the website, and then in some different non-HTTP or HTTP protocol, the proxy says, okay, for this request, I'm going to connect to this server, and this server is going to send you a reply. And for another request, you're actually I'm going to connect you to this server, and this server is going to send you a reply, but you see only the IP of a proxy, and this is how large internet websites work, actually. But there is a reverse proxy, and you connect to a reverse proxy, and then it gets load balanced and so on, so that's fine. And maybe what they mean here by bypassing a proxy server is that I'm going to somehow, in the second scenario, have to find a way to actually not connect to a reverse proxy but to a real server. Maybe that's what they mean. Let's see. Perfect. So, okay. a few shells open using the shell command. I didn't use the shell command. Running on computers you've already got admin access to should be able to overload it. So I'm going to overload the proxy, and if I overload the proxy, then I'm going to connect to bypass the proxy. I don't get it, but okay. Looking for, does this make sense on in any space? There are sometimes bugs which you actually have to overload a server to exploit the bug. For example, there was years ago a kernel exploit for Linux where you had to allocate all of the RAM, totally like finish up the memory, including the swap file, and only then the bug would start to work. So yeah, so you basically waited for like 13 minutes for all the RAM to get eaten up, and when it was eaten up you could trigger your bug and get a root shell. So there might be, but I guess a better example here is, you know, the local area network hubs. So not the switches, but hubs. No, actually the switches. The difference between the switch and a hub is that switch is supposed to be a smart device. If you go and you say I want to connect to this MAC address, it actually sends you to the proper machine, where a hub would send you to all the machines connected because the hub doesn't know. Now, if you'd like to intercept all the traffic in the network, if you have a hub, that's easy, because all the traffic is going to be sent to you anyway. In case of switches, what you had to do is you had to overload it, as in send menu request stating that, hey, I am this MAC address, this MAC address, this MAC address, and this MAC address. So when you filled up all the memory of a switch with different MAC addresses, it would say like, screw it, I'm just going to send all the packets everywhere, and that way nothing is going to get lost and all the packets will be delivered. Obviously the network will be slower, so maybe this is what we're trying to go for here. So okay, I have to open shells, and then I have to do something. So there's a proxy server info. I guess I don't need this. Run shells, okay. Connect to a target. Use shells to overload. Let's see what happens. This is, I never saw it on TCP level, but okay, whatever. Then I have, okay. So I have like some network education archives, and I have an entropy test server. I also saw an entropy server somewhere here before, right? Yeah, it's here. Oh, it's like some cache. Okay, whatever. So what we're supposed to do now, I guess, is we're supposed to hack all the entropy servers. So, okay, let's exit Jmail. I can hack Gmail too, really. That's fun. I like it. Wow, but I need to crack all the 4 ports. That's pretty cool, actually, but they allowed you to hack an email server, which is part of, you know, the actual story. Perfect. So, I guess let's go here. This is GNPC, so I don't need to. Let's go to this Andras thingy, and I have root access here. So I have a shell. What happened? This happened. Oh, I can click trap or overload. I have no idea what these do. Let's connect to Jmail now. The bedroom is ready. This one. I have a shell then here. Here. I didn't go here. It's like an asset cache. Let's see. I need to crack. Yeah, let's hack this server. Why not? SSH crack 22. Can I hack a different port? No, I cannot. Okay, I do need to crack the proper SSH port number. Okay, and it again does something which looks like, I guess, byte by byte brute forcing, which is done in parallel. And okay, I've connected. Perfect. So now I do the port hack. Whoa. Target machine rejecting syndicated UDP traffic, whatever is syndicated UDP traffic. In this scenario, bypass firewall to allow. I have to bypass the firewall. I have no idea how to bypass the firewall, but now that they mention it, there is actually some firewall here. So, can you bypass a firewall in the real world? Actually, yes. Yes and no. It's but there are like it depends. Everything depends on what kind of a firewall is it, because the firewall can be on different layers, right? It could be on the application layer, and then it's called, for example, the web application firewall, or so-called WAF, right? So that's one thing. Another is like on the IP level or TCP level, like IP tables, or the Windows Advanced Firewall. Why is Windows Advanced Firewall has the same acronym as whatever? You know, Windows stuff, right? Yeah, and obviously there are other firewalls, but the way you usually bypass something like a WAF is you WAF basically is like you're trying to do an SQL injection, and the web application firewall tells you I'm denying you access and banning your IP because I found the keyword select there, and the admin configured it in a way that if there's like any SQL keyword somewhere there, then well, it basically disallows access because that might be an SQL injection. So it's basically blacklisting of keywords, or blacklisting, or doing some heuristics on the URL itself. And to bypass this, you just have to like try different keywords. For example, on one pentest I remember, we found the WAF, and to bypass it, and it detected just that, SQL injections, and to bypass it we just changed spaces into opening and closing the command, because that actually also breaks the tokens into pieces and in SQL, and that worked just fine, and it bypassed web application firewall, and it stopped complaining that we are attacking the server using SQL injection, and we could just exploit the server. Now on a different level, like IP tables, this gets funny, because I'm not really sure what you could do here. Like a little higher up, there's another funny attack. Sometimes, at least in the past, it was possible, but you could, in some cases, make your TCP packets, which were fragmented, look in a different way to the firewall. So the firewall would see one content of the TCP stream, and to the actual server, which would see a different content of TCP stream. I never done it, I just read articles about it though, but that's pretty fun. How to bypass something blocked on IP tables is, I guess, beyond my knowledge. It might be possible depending on the rules. In the end, it boils down to the rules. If you can determine or look at the rules, you maybe can bypass it or do something. Like, for example, maybe you need just an IP from Korea or whatever, and it allows all Korean IPs, and then it just works. Or maybe you need to go to like this company's local headquarters, connect to the open Wi-Fi there, and then suddenly you can connect to it because that IP is whitelisted. So that's one way. The other way is usually firewalls, you know, have to have some port opened, and when you connect to that port, it actually like bounces you to some machine. And if you can hack this machine, you're inside the network, and so if this one opening would for some reason allow you to actually get persistence on this machine, then you can go from this machine and basically connect with all the other places around. Yeah, but we have a firewall, and I have no idea how to bypass it for now, so later on. Okay, this was the test PC. Oh, I guess the yellow ones are so let's do, I'm going to do this mission, and then I'm going to switch the game. I'm going to do the questions and switch the game. No, here, let's do a shell here as well. Do I have to, oh, what is this? Well, this is, looks like a bulletin board of some kind. Firewalls. Oh, I can analyze and solve a firewall. Can I analyze a firewall now? I'm not going to read it, so this is going to be fun. Let's probe it again. Analyze. Oh, perfect. And I analyzed it, and I got semi-random looking letters, I guess. Can I solve it? No solution provided, ABC. Oh, okay, so I guess this gives me something and I have to do something. What do I have to do? This is getting interesting. Let's read it. Firewalls have been around for a very long time in computer security, most often serving to prevent automated forging network traffic rather than secure against dedicated hackers. Modern firewalls, however, can be configured to prevent all security-critical traffic unless it is prefixed by a firewall solution. Oh, I guess firewalls have keys, and if they see the key, then can open the traffic. That's believable. That's doable. Okay, in this situation, the firewall solution needs to be provided. Firewall complexity can be examined using the analyze command. Running the analyze command multiple times will automatically detect patterns in the response data header and will eliminate characters it can guarantee are not part of the correct. Oh, okay, so I guess I need to run it a couple of times then. Let's get back here. Probe system, analyze. Yeah, it actually does something. Okay, so I guess time is the solution here. We have a T here, we have an I here. I'm going to actually decrease my mouse speed a little. M here and E here. So solve time. Perfect, it works. Firewall has been solved. I like that term. I don't remember ever saying that a firewall has been solved, but whatever. So now I can do the port hack thingy. Here we go. Okay. Oh, I don't have to probe it. I already solved it, sorry. Nothing here. Logs will have to... Hex clock. What's a hex clock? Yeah, I'm going to do as university students in my country do. I didn't know what is it, so I'm going to copy it. Might be important. Okay, let's go to sys. Sys, and nothing fun here, so let's go to log again, remove everything. Okay, perfect, and disconnect. Oh, I actually could, yeah, let's reconnect there. Since I'm already here, I'm going to show this as well. Cool. Okay, I guess I cannot. Can I scan this? No. And I guess I didn't forget to scan for different hosts on the nodes I did connect to. Nmap. Can I? There's a firewall, only one port total, and I need 5 ports. I guess this is not hackable at the current situation. Okay, entropy test server, probe system. I need to crack, there's a proxy. I'm going to click the overload button and see what happens. I guess it's enough to just click overload and then a proxy is magically being overloaded. Well, that's fine. That's fine with me. And now I'm going to open the port by running SSH crack, which is hilarious, but okay. This game is actually fun, in all honesty. Yeah, it has like a nice hacker-like scene vibe. So speaking of hacker-like vibe, I actually heard a story that on DEF CON, you know, one of probably the largest hacker conference in Vegas, or like in the world, but happening in Vegas, where I think like 20,000 people each year, and it spawns between 2 hotels in Vegas, and one hotel in Vegas is like a city. It's huge. It's like absolutely huge. Hotels in Vegas are crazy. Apparently I've heard a story that some people come to the DEF CON conference who are like totally not into IT, not into security, but like the hacker atmosphere and free parties are what drive them there. So I totally believe why people would like to pretend to be a hacker, I guess, and play such kind of games. Yeah, these are pretty fun. Okay, port hack again, so we can finish the mission. And you are the administrator, perfect. Introduction test, download this file. Yeah, sure. And we will contact you shortly, that's funny. And should be. Okay. Oh, and I got an email, they are fast. Zero Cool. Zero Cool is the nickname from the Hackers movie. I'm not sure about this. Bit, please read. Okay, let's do it. Bit, if you are lurking, can you please come out of the shadows? I need to talk to you. Vapor won't get off my case saying something's wrong. She's sure something's going on. Okay. Okay. Hack the planet. Okay. I'm going to shell their server and go to logs and remove the logs. Because why not? It's quite funny that all the IPs are actually mine. Well... sweet, disconnect. Let's see the email, what the entropy says. Congratulations. Before you be able to officially join the group, we must further confirm your abilities. A tabloid news server has recently taken a negative stance towards entropy and we'd like to temporarily disable their operation. Oh, this sounds like a certain famous group I know. You know, the one which were Guy Fawkes or whatever his name is. Masks. As a second test of your skill, bring down the message board. So am I supposed to just use the low orbit ion cannon? I don't know. But that's it for this game. It's actually pretty fun. They got some things right, they got other things not really right. SSH and mail is using a huge amount of RAM here, but that's fine. Actually a pretty fun game. So Hacknet, yeah, I liked it. As expected on the truthness quality from a game. So let's exit this, let's go to some questions and so yeah, let's switch here and then we're going to go to the next game. And yeah, deleting the files did take a long time. Whoa, there are 9 questions, perfect. Honorary Bot says it got 4 CPUs, 4 have APIC ID 255, which means they're disabled. Okay, well I guess they didn't get that right. Przemysław says he returned the SSD and is buying another SSD with a small heatsink. It's a good idea. It should help you a little, but you need airflow through the heatsink for it to give you anything, I guess. Yeah, and I don't think the temperatures are dangerous, but do ask the manufacturer. Like, contact their support, tell them that hey, I have like 80 degrees Celsius on it, and be sure to mention Celsius, and ask them if it's dangerous. Music is too loud. Sorry about that. Was it too loud all the time or was it too loud only at the beginning? Because I did decrease it a little. .cheat. Play as usually in work. Read the manual and put correct nmap commands with all the options. Don't cheat, I guess, that was not .cheat. Maybe lower a music volume a little. Okay, I'm going to do it now, so let's switch here. I'm going to do... yeah, this should be fine. Sorry about the music volume. Okay. Have you heard about Meltdown Prime and Spectre Prime, the enhanced versions of Meltdown Spectre enhanced by NVIDIA? I do have a paper, I have it printed, I didn't read it yet, so no comment on it yet. I don't know if it was a practical attack though, or was it just, did they implement it actually? Can someone use IP spoofing to bypass firewalls? So IP spoofing is something which was done in the old days, where because you know, you can actually set in the IP header whatever you like, right? That being said, the routers should, when seeing like an IP which doesn't make sense, especially your ISP routers, they should just say like, no, like I'm dropping this packet. That being said, maybe, but the trick here is that using IP spoofing, you do not see the reply, because the reply is actually routed to whatever other network host there is, which means that you cannot establish a TCP session unless you guess all the numbers, and the numbers are supposed to be like, you know, the sequence ID and so on are supposed to be random and unguessable currently. And I think like this was cleaned up ages ago, like in late 90s already. So Michael Zalewski, in his book Silence on the Wire, has a chapter on it if you're interested, by the way. So yeah, I guess you can use IP spoofing still sometimes to send UDP packets, but not to establish full TCP connections. But again, I'm not a network security specialist, I might be mistaken here. So yeah, you might be able to sneak a UDP packet if you know which IPs are actually whitelisted, and knowing which IPs are whitelisted is I guess not really easy either, because you end up guessing or scanning. Maybe soundtrack to next live stream. We can try it actually. So we can try it. I mean, yeah, I might be able to get some music. We can play it really quietly. Maybe it will be fun. Have you ever had the temptation to do it in real life? Like hacking? Well, you know, when you're a pen tester, they actually pay you for it. What happened with your wall? Which wall? Oh, that wall. No, that wall. Oh, it has like LED panels, LED panels, basically, which my wife set up to be fancy Ginveil livestream-like colors. And yeah, since, you know, I took down the Christmas lights and I actually like colorful background and colorful lights, this is, I think it's a nice addition. I don't know if you folks like it, let me know, but I do like both like the blue light over there, the violet or purple, bluish colors on the other wall. It makes the room looks a little more interesting. You can also use O-days to bypass firewalls, am I right? So you would have to have an O-day for that specific firewall. And O-day is basically, you know, it's a term for a vulnerability which is not patched, basically, and usually known only to whoever found it and nobody else. When it starts being public one way or the other, there is no good term for it, but it's, you know, like 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, right? Sometimes people call it that. But yeah, if you have a vulnerability in the firewall and it's unpatched, then you can probably exploit the firewall itself. And that, like exploiting security services which were supposed to provide you security to the system, it's nothing new. So, and that does happen. So yeah, if you have a proper bug, then yeah. The problem here is actually finding the vulnerability in a given firewall. And on penetration tests usually don't do it because it's really time consuming. Well, sometimes you do, right? But yeah, attacking a firewall doesn't seem easy. Seems doable, but not easy. And you might not find anything. Yeah, you know, that black hat voodoo hoodie atmosphere or being mad. I need a black hat hoodie for it to be even more fun, I guess. Cool, let's switch to the next game in that case. Let me quickly check here. Perfect. The second game is going to be... I'm probably not going to get to uplink today. Let me know totally in the comments after the live stream. Did you like the idea of actually doing hacker games, and later on maybe should I do the programming games like this 100 and Shenzhen.io and so on? If yes, I can do these from time to time. Where could I search for groups to join? You mentioned joining groups with similar ideas, entry-level pentest groups. So that's an excellent question, actually. I don't have a good answer, but usually in your country there is some bulletin board or forum or whatnot where there are people who are doing a given thing. Usually, not always, sadly. You can just ask there, like, hey, I want to join a group, are there any groups? Or maybe, hey, I want to create a group, this is the purpose of creating the group. Yeah, in all honesty, all the groups I was in, I created or co-created with somebody. So yeah, sometimes you just have to do it. Maybe not all, but most of them. So yeah, you can ask on some forums if there's nothing in your country, or you want to be more international about it. Do look for international bulletin boards, international forums. Yeah, I guess maybe if you're looking for a CTF team, for example, on ctftime.org there is a tab for when looking for a team or looking for players. You can look there. Yeah, maybe on, like, I guess when our website for live streaming is up, we can have a tab with a bulletin board for these kind of topics, like looking for a group or want to create a group. So that's a good question, but I don't have a good answer. It's like, look around, basically. Maybe you can try to hack this game. I'm actually going to do some game hacking, but I haven't decided yet if I do it on the English live stream or Polish live stream, so... But we'll get to game hacking eventually, it's somewhere on my list. It won't be multiplayer game hacking, because I'm totally against like doing multiplayer cheats. Because as a player, I play a lot of Counter-Strike and StarCraft, and I'm quite annoyed by hackers, so... yeah. I totally respect people doing the hacks, like creating the hacks, but that does take technical proficiency, right? But the users. It's a funny ethical problem, isn't it? Which interface is used by the OS to control LEDs in PC? As far as I know, it's called SMB bus, but I never played with it. It's something I want to play with, actually, but I'm pretty sure it's that. I guess Honorary Bot on the chat could tell you a little more. Okay, Hacker Evolution Immersion. I think it's the newest game from that series. Okay, incoming technical problems. Okay, no, it actually works-ish. Let's see if there's any lag. There doesn't seem to be any lag. It's actually an alpha version of this game, so if there are any problems, then, like, don't blame the developers. It's not a finished product. Options, let's play options. Windowed mode, I think I'm in windowed mode? No, or am I? Let's see. No, I'm not in windowed mode, so I'm going to switch it to windowed mode. I don't think it's being switched to windowed mode. Can I do it just like... Oh, because I have to leave the options. Okay, that's fine. What happened to my game? Did I think I clicked quit. I'm sorry about that. Let's try it again. Window mode. Okay, let's try it again. I'm going to press Alt, Enter, which usually switches. No, I have to do it in full screen mode. Which is a little annoying because I sometimes get off the screen with my mouse cursor and do something. Play tutorial, play Hacker Evolution Immersion, play Sandbox. Let's play tutorial. This is nice looking. I cannot move the window. Can I move my... No, seriously, let me move the window. I cannot move the window. Okay, so... Okay, and it seems this my application which does zooming doesn't work either, so that's not good. Okay, we'll have to... yeah, suffer through it, I guess. Your first objective is to hack target-1.net server. You can see it on your target map. I guess this is the target map. The server has an encryption key and password. And I'm almost out of tea. This is not good. Yeah, I'm not sure, but... Sorry, I'm going to move my camera a little higher. Yeah, okay. So I have to wait. Where's an encryption key and a password? How does that work? By the way, is the volume of the music okay? While the decryption is in progress, you can increase the CPU speed and balance your CPU resources. This is funny. So yeah, let's address that. Do you usually balance the CPU resources? The answer, surprisingly, is sometimes. As in, I actually do have an Intel application where I can choose which application the turbo on my CPU is going to be totally used all the time when possible and so on. Can I show you the application? No, I don't have it running. And I guess when running AFL, you also are asked, you know, the American Fuzzy Lob, the fuzzer, you are asked to switch your CPU performance into a different mode to have the highest performance. So I guess sometimes you can always, you know, change the priority of the processes, but yeah, I'm not sure about really allocating resources or anything like that. Let's see what... Well, you can overclock the CPU too, but you need to reboot every time. Let's see what they mean. Okay, so I have to scan it, decrypt it, which is quite funny already, and then I have to brute force it. So, I don't know. Am I connecting through some type of SSL, which requires some client certificate or something, so I need to decrypt it? I don't know, actually. F3 if I want to see it, escape to dismiss. Perfect. Now I have these here, and I believe I can click them. Okay, if I click them, then I can either put more CPU into the firewall, which is already quite funny. Why would my firewall require too much CPU power anyway? Wait, is this like a world map? Where am I? Am I on like some island on the, what is it, Pacific Ocean? Please ignore my ignorance, my geographic ignorance. And this is like Antarctica probably or something. Well, okay, that's fine. Then I have, oh, the CPU temperature, and I can boost the clock. So yeah, this isn't far from truth, but normally the system kernel is handling that, right? So normally if you're on like, especially on an Android phone or something, right? If you have an Android phone or probably some other non-Android phone as well, then the clock is like on minimal cycles, but when you start doing something, the clock suddenly boosts up because otherwise it would eat a lot of battery. So this is believable, but usually the kernel does it. And then I have the network balance between upload and download. This is not how it works. Yeah, but okay. They have some weird kind of network in that case, which is, I guess if it is like, you know, not full duplex mode, then there might be, like, you have only one line, one wire connecting it, and you have to actually balance between how much you use the wire for upload and download. But this sounds weird, but okay. And my CPU has where I can actually kill my CPU, it seems. This is something which doesn't happen to CPUs usually, as in if you still take That's Antarctica. Oh, sorry. Sorry about that. So if you take a CPU which was created in like the 70s, it will still work probably. This stuff don't usually wear off. And I have some money, and I have neural firewall integrity. Does my firewall have some artificial intelligence? That's pretty cool, but please, I would prefer not to, because artificial intelligence is actually a fancy word for heuristics in this case, and heuristics are a best effort thing. Okay, scan, let's play. That's a local area network IP, by the way. My firewall strength is 512 bits, that's amazing, and the password length is 8. Okay, so I'm going to decrypt the firewall, which is already quite funny. Let's do it. Okay, and it's decrypting it bit by bit, on a bit by bit basis. Now my firewall is dying. I guess I can boost my CPU so it goes faster. Oh, and my firewall isn't dying so hard now. So this is fine. Okay, so it's done. Now I can, what did I say, like brute force the target. And it's brute forcing. Yeah, the firewall integrity is going down, the temperature is going up. It's brute forcing byte by byte. Sometimes you can brute force byte by byte, and this is, I guess this is quite important to distinguish, right? There are a couple of types of brute forcing. Sometimes you brute force when your CPU is close to meltdown, quickly dial the reduce button. Is it failure in 7 seconds? No. Wait. Yeah, okay. Should be fine now. Alright. Good that it appeared. I'm going to go back to this topic of brute forcing in a second. Click the dial to reduce. You can repeat. Oh, I can gain 9 seconds every time. So I guess I can overheat it and then like turn it off for a second and then overheat it again, and I gain 9 second like save zone anyway. Perfect. So going back to the brute forcing subjects, usually when you're brute forcing stuff, you are brute forcing the full range. So if in this case, if it was like I would be brute forcing 512 bits, I would actually have 2 to the power of 2 to the power of 512 bits of combinations, and that's actually a really huge number. So that's why encryption keys are usually brute forceable, but not in decent time. And by usually brute forceable, what I mean is, you can brute force them if you have like several million years, then probably it's doable. But if you have less time and the stream is shorter, then yeah. That being said, there are cases where you can brute force usually byte by byte, and in some cases bit by bit. One such case was, for example, on the Pwning conference. There was a talk by a couple of Dragon Sector members, by Redford and KrzaQ, who hacked Toshiba laptops BIOS password thingy. And actually, long story short, on the Toshiba motherboard there is a special chip called the embedded controller, which has the firmware responsible for checking a way to bypass like a service key, basically. But you cannot dump the firmware because it actually requires a pin. You have to send the pin to the chip, and I think the pin was like 8 bytes or something. And if you get the correct pin, then only then you can download the firmware and analyze it and understand the crypto behind it and get the embedded keys and so on. But it turned out that what they did when checking this pin for the chip is they did it like this: checking if the first byte matches. Oh, it doesn't match, then exit. Or it matches, then checking the second byte of the key. Oh, it doesn't match, exit. Or it matches, then checking the third one. And this is called like a non-constant comparison. And in cryptography this is bad. And this was bad in this case as well, because they basically hooked up a logic analyzer to it and started brute forcing the first byte only, and seeing when the reply comes back and measuring exact time. And if the exact time was a little longer, just a little longer than usual, they said, okay, it actually passed the first byte and we can brute force the second byte right now. because it, you know, took long time to check both the first one, which was correct, and the second one, then just checking the first one and saying immediately at that point abort. So brute forcing byte by byte is also possible, and in that case they actually, you know, brute force the 8-byte key easily and dump the firmware. I can cut a file. Okay, so I can telnet. Let's do it. Okay, so I'm connected, and there are 2 files. One is connections log from target to as root. So this is another interesting thing. How would it know? No, I guess what it means is actually somebody connected and logged in as a root on a root account. But what I wanted to mention is that sometimes the question is also which user is connecting, and there's something called the finger-D, which is an old school daemon. I don't think it's present on modern servers, but for example, when you connect to an IRC network, the IRC server tries to connect to your finger-D daemon and asks like, hey, from this source port, which user is it from your server? And the finger-D, which actually should know who made the connection, says, okay, this is this user, like user Gunveil or something, and it tells that to the IRC server. And then when you do a who is on IRC, the thing before the @ sign, if it doesn't have any character like a tilde or something in front, that means it's actually a reply from the finger-D. Yeah, just a funny bit. Yeah, in total, in like 90s, when you wanted to have more connections than 3 to some IRC networks, you actually had to have finger-D installed or something which faked finger-D. Okay, so let's I guess what can I just connect from here to like scan target to .net. Yeah, I guess it has a firewall strength of 0 and a password length of 16, so I can just brute force it. Target to .net. Oh, sorry, Dohan, thank you. It's not finger-D, it's ident. Yeah, obviously. Identity. So brute forcing my firewall is going down like crazy, and I have to overclock my PC. Yeah, it's hacking like Emacs over Sandmail from a Polish movie. There was a Polish movie called Hacker, which had this phrase like, try Emacs over Sandmail. And also a phrase like, oh, they have a triple firewall. But that was quite funny. I didn't watch the movie, but like some sayings from that movie are pretty well known on the Polish scene. And this one is in Africa, but I actually don't know which country is it. Okay, I'm going to... Okay, come on, come on. Yeah, okay. Sweet, done. I have 50% of my firewall left. So I can telnet and download the exploit. Perfect. So telnet target to .net. I'm already connected to the remote server. Well, I know I'm connected to the remote server. I want to do a chain. Why do you not allow me to connect from this server to that server? But okay. Can I do Control-D? No, I cannot. That's annoying. Log off. Log out. Oh, it has my history from that host. But now this is hilarious. Why does it have my history? That being said, actually, Windows terminal application keeps the history inside the terminal and not inside the interpreter, which is quite funny. And I can show you, I guess, it really quickly. So let's go. This is Linux, but let's grab a Windows one as well. Do I have a Windows one? No, I don't. So let's go here. Yeah, okay. So if I do Python, and now I write something like SDF, and I press F7, was it? It displays me the history, right? if I disconnect from Python and I run Python again, then my history is still here, as you can see. And if I would create like some different binary, which does nothing, absolutely nothing. So let's do copy con asdf.c, and yeah, that's fine. So let's do quickly something like this, and get char. Yeah. Okay, and compile it. Now I'm going to actually move exe, which was generated, to python.exe. Wrong operating system, sorry. If I run Python, my history is still here, as you can see, but if I close the process, my history is not here because I see the history for a different process. So the terminal actually knows which process is running and grabs the history for that given process, which is quite a funny approach to it. I guess inside this game it works in an identical way. Sweet, so, okay. We are here, we connected, we are supposed to download, not SCP this time, download, okay, download is fine. And it's downloading my, this is not good. I'm going to make the download a little bit efficient. No, make it efficient. Can I boost the CPU? Oh, if I boost the CPU, the firewall stopped being drained as well, which is quite funny. That's weird. Okay, so downloaded an exploit, and I can scan to reveal it. Wait, what? Look for clues here and try to find it, then try to scan it. Okay. I can find also a password to the server. Once I have it, I can try password, server, password. Okay. Oh. If the encryption level is too high, I can use the exploit. An exploit is used here as some magical tool which does something, it seems. Usually an exploit is just the name we call scripts or programs which exploit a given vulnerability, but yeah, you use an exploit for a given vulnerability and not an exploit or the exploit. Let's look around. Telnet log, 100 megabytes of logs. Let's review 100 megabytes of log, why not? That doesn't look like 100 megabytes. So, here's a question for you. In a real computer, what would have to happen for a 100 megabyte file to actually output only 4 lines of, like, what is this, like 100 bytes, maybe not even. There are actually a couple of answers here. One, the file system might be corrupt, and second is, on Windows the file was opened in text mode, but it contains a Ctrl-D character. I don't remember which ASCII value it is. But that character actually signals an end of file at end of transmission, basically at this byte, and even if there is like 100 megabytes of bytes after that, you will not be able to read it if the file was opened in text mode. That being said, the null byte, surprisingly, in case of cat, should not do anything. It still should output these many lines. Now, this would also happen in another funny case where, for example, after each line, there would be the first 3 lines normally outputted, and then it would be a carriage return, which basically goes back to the beginning of the line. Sorry, my camera is inverted, but let's assume this is the beginning. Okay, this is the beginning of the line. So you would output some stuff and then go back to the beginning of the line and never go to the next line. So here perhaps 100 megabytes of data was actually written out, but then we jumped to the beginning of the line again and overwritten it with this string. So this is also what might have happened. Sweet. So, okay, scan 10.00.99, which is another local host address. I guess they went for the safe way of not actually specifying real-world addresses. The firewall strength is is 16 kilobytes. I don't even know what that means, but okay. And the password length is 24 characters. Brute forcing 24 characters byte by byte is easy. Brute forcing them at the same time is probably not doable. That's a lot of information actually. It doesn't have a modem, but it has a network interface. Obviously it has a network interface because we even have an IP for that host, so yeah. We can use the exploit. Okay, let's use the exploit. Oh, we have a password, so use the password. Root hacker evolution immersion. Here we go. Not how you use it. Password? No, I guess I have to use the IP, so 10.10.99. Here we go. Password match, perfect. Server password is disabled. This is obviously what's happening always when you enter the password gets disabled. Let's scan it again and see what changed. So the password length is 0 now, perfect. Isn't 24 characters actually? It might be, I'm not sure though. Trace time 30 seconds, I don't know what that means. My firewall is on 29% too. I guess I think there's a way to recharge it, from what I remember of playing for 5 minutes of this game. I died so many times during that 5 minutes. Anyway, died as in my server burned or my firewall was at 0. Let's use the exploit then. Exploit. I don't even have to give it a port. Oh, I have to use an exploit file, perfect. Level completed. Okay, that's cool. I think I completed the tutorial just now, so happy me. There are no questions right now, so I guess we can continue, but I need some water. I'll just... oh, here, sorry about that. I'm out of tea, and I'm speaking a lot today. Dohan says on IRC, now watch him forget that fake python.exe and debug why Python is not working in the future. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it happened to me at least once in the past, so yeah, I'm not going to say no, that will never happen. Let's play the game then. Sputnik file. Okay, the Soviet Union launched the Sputnik 1 satellite. During 21 days of life, it transmitted signals back to Earth. Recent intel suggests that there is some more information within those transmissions that wasn't disclosed. You need to grab a copy of the files containing all the information all the original transmission data. It won't be easy as the file is located on the old BESM-6 mainframes in Baikonur Cosmodrome. They don't have a network interface, so you will need to dial in using a modem. That's pretty cool. That's like old school hacking. I'm pretty sure there are still places with a modem connected to the phone line, so yeah, not far-fetched. You need to find the phone numbers for... So I guess if you watched the old War Games movie from 1985, there was a scene where they were actually scanning network, like phone numbers to find where a modem is, and they had like automated scanners for it, at least in the movie. But that's pretty believable and pretty cool as well. I really liked it. Okay, you need to find the phone numbers for the modems on the mainframe and its control station. Hey, now that I think of it, I don't even have a modem at home, which is weird. I had quite like several modems back in the days. Huh. We managed to locate a phone belonging to a Russian engineer who still manages those mainframes. Why do we need his hack? We are going to hack his phone, visible on the target map, and locate 2 modem numbers. That's pretty cool actually. Once you have the numbers, you can use the scan command to reveal the computers on your target map. That's actually pretty cool. So okay, we're hacking the phone. This is I guess the phone. Black undernet something. I guess this is the firewall strength and the password strength. Global internet Authority LAN. What is this? Hello there, but okay, we are not going to hack you, we are going to hack this. I like the UI of this game. It's really nice. It's a 4G phone, it has a firewall strength of 2 kilobytes, whatever that means. And it has a modem, and it has a network interface. How are we supposed to know it has a modem from here? I guess if we fingerprinted the device, we might know it has a modem. That's fine. Sorry, I have to decrypt the firewall now, whatever that means. So let's do it. Oh, right, and I have to boost this, and I'm not boosting anything else. Let's see what happens. On the chat, honorary bot, you forgot your phone. That's funny. The music reminds me a little of the Death Note anime. Of the soundtrack.
10, 9, 8, 7.
Whoa.
5,
There's a nice countdown.
3, 2.
Okay, perfect. We hacked it. As you can see, the firewall strength is now 0, whatever that is supposed to mean. That's fine. Oh, it has a boot.hs file. Let's cut the boot.hs file. Example game script. This gets executed when the level starts automatically. You can also execute it from the console. Echo ASDF, uptime, exec boot. That's pretty cool. Okay. So what now? Do I have to type scan? I don't know. How do I scan the modem? LS. There's nothing more here. A pretty empty file system if you asked me. Usually there is a lot of garbage. Decrypt, brute force, telnet, dial modem number. I don't know yet. I can cheat to the next level, that's funny. Download, upload, firewall, CPU balance. Oh, I guess I can do a CPU balance. Maybe I can write script files. I wonder how do I edit files. Okay, so we hacked it. Hack this phone and locate the 2 modem numbers. Where? There's only one file here. No, seriously. Is this why this is an alpha version? I don't know. Oh yeah, let's connect to... Oh, maybe I can scan it again and then something more pops up, so... Let's do it. Oh, but there's some number here, like the modem number, so I'm going to do... sorry, dial. Why is a phone number in this format like 5 digits? That's a little too little. Oh, I connected to it. Okay, perfect. Oh, and there are more files here. So if I connect it through a modem interface, I see more files. Now, there's some crazy compartmentalization going on here. 2 different domains, whatever. 10 megabytes of logs. No password for the home Wi-Fi or the public Wi-Fi, that's fine. Call logs. Not CD, sorry. I'm such a bad hacker. Ooh, and there are 2 modem calls. There's a voice call and a modem. Cool. It's really cool. So cat inbox. Failed to retrieve something. Oh, that's cool. Authentication failed with password. 18 characters instead of 16 expected. Password too long. Okay. This reminds me of a story. I went to US for some reason and I bought a modem with a local SIM, like a modem Wi-Fi, like a small device. You just put it and you have it connects to like 4G or something or LTE, and you connect to it using Wi-Fi. So, you know, to get internet in my hotel, whatever. And I don't remember what was the network provider, but Well, it says enter password. Okay, so I entered the password and it said, yeah, password too long because 16 characters at most. So I entered 16 characters and it said, yeah, fine. And it was on the ISP. I needed to register on the ISP website for some reason. And then I went to a different part of the ISC to check on some settings for my internet. And it asked me to log in again because that's a different domain. That's fine. So I enter the password and it says, sorry, 15 characters at most. So they allowed me to set a 16-character password on one side, but I couldn't log in with 16 characters on the other side they provided because it was, like, you know, limited to 15. This is crazy. Okay, this is funny actually because I can do now password mail turatam.ru. I don't know if that means anything. Covert 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Okay. Password match. Okay, so I guess I can connect to that server now, but I guess I'll do it later. I can do scans on the both modems though. 553. Okay. Did it appear? Yes, it appeared. And on the other one as well. So 2635. Perfect. My bank has 10 character limit for password. 10 characters, seriously. My default password is longer than that, yeah. Weird bank. Okay, so I scanned both of the modems. Now I guess I can... Is there anything else interesting here? There's some card which is encrypted, I guess. Card something and... Doesn't look too encrypted. CC equals decode something last used. That's pretty cool. I'm just going to grab this file because why not? Oh wait, it's downloading the huge text file. No, this is not what I wanted to click. This is what I wanted to click. So yeah, let's do it like this. And I'm downloading like this. Yeah, the firewall is drained so fast. Yeah, 4-digit pins. Surprisingly, in Switzerland you have 6-digit pins for like credit cards and so on, for, you know, debit cards. No, my CPU is overheating. What now? No, done. So I downloaded this file in... Sorry, what connection do I have there? It's not good. Perfect, let's disconnect then. DC no, but wrong game. Log out. And now I'm going to scan the modems, I guess, so... Can I just click on it? Tell me I can click on it. No, that's not the one, this one. Okay, so it has a firewall. I don't have a password for it, but I can, I guess, decrypt the firewall, whatever that means, again. No, it's just decrypt. Okay, it's doing something. I have to boost my CPU again. I guess I don't care what the network setting is. Balance more of your CPU power. That's quite funny.
10, 9,
Okay.
8, 7, 6, 5.
Why is it counting down? Oh, maybe the decryption is counting down. Okay, that's fine. My CPU is already 10% used, and I don't have too much money. I guess I can use this ATM info to get some more money. So this is decrypted. Now I can, I guess, telnet there, because it should not have any more protections, so... Oh, this doesn't work too well. Oh, dial, right, because it's a modem, I cannot telnet to a modem, surprisingly. But I can decrypt a firewall on that modem, but I cannot dial into it. Perfect. Oh, there are no files here, so I missed it. That's not good. Okay, whatever. Let's try the second one then. So I have to scan. And it was this one. That's a really strong firewall. Can I do the exploit thingy? Was the exploit thingy on the firewall? It was, right? So exploit 7. Yeah. With exploit. Oh, that was in the tutorial. I don't think I have that file anymore. Yeah, I don't think I have that file. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to do the decrypting stuff. Decrypt 773625553. Okay. Yeah, this is where I hack the game to give myself max money. Not today, not today. But yeah, hacking a hacker's game is fun, but hacking probably... We should find another game. Maybe a DOS game, but would be fun. Okay, 2 minutes. Perfect. And my CPU is almost burned. Can I just do this? Oh, perfect. I can do this. One minute, that's better. I'm still not sure what my CPU has to do here. I mean, usually brute forcing like this is... Yeah, it's quite interesting. What do they mean by firewall decryption? I don't really know. It's an interesting concept. I'm trying to think, you know, of a concept which is... think of an idea which this concept might make sense in. I'm a little struggling here. It's always a good, I think, a brain puzzle, basically, or an exercise for the brain to get a idea which is ridiculous. Like, for example, decrypting the firewall and try to figure out a scenario where that actually makes sense. Why is it counting down? Oh, trace. Wait, whoa. No, don't. What? Am I going to die? No. Okay, I think I'm dead. Game over. Yeah, sorry. I was caught, I guess, by the Russians because I'm trying to catch the Russians. Like, yeah. Honorary bot, I hope you have good connections there. I guess let's end it here. Pretty fun game too. So, yeah, I like it. I'm probably going to play more of it sometime in the future because it has a really nice feeling to it. Let me get my UI back and running again. Yeah, ish. I think this should be okay-ish. Perfect. So I guess we are already 2 hours into the stream, so we can wrap it up for today. Oh, guest actually says that it's end of transmission character. It's 004. So 4 is the character I mentioned for the text files on Windows, which actually end the file. Thanks, guest. 0001010. That's the full nickname. Maybe not decryption, but firewall enumeration. Strength by the count of rules that can smash our payload. Perhaps. Yeah, there are like multiple possibilities how we can interpret it, right? So there's no mission today, sadly, because I was pretty late into the meetings, like at work, before I got here today, so I couldn't prepare a mission. I'm sorry about that. I guess, yeah, let me know what you thought about today's stream. It was like totally different than I usually do on my live streams, so please let me know what you thought. And apart from that, yeah, that's it for today. Next week, I'm not sure what's the topic going to be, but it's going to be probably more technical anyway. So I guess thank you for being here with me. Thank you, KrzaQ, for being here as my moderator and passing me the questions. And yeah, see you next week or tomorrow if you speak Polish by any chance and are viewing my Polish live streams as well. So yeah, have a great evening, day, whatever time zone you're in. And yeah, I encourage you to try some of these games. They seem to be fun. So that's it. I'm going to leave you with some music, sadly no mission as I mentioned, and see you next week. Bye bye.